everyone, and welcome to this very special conversation. Best-selling Indian author Amish Tripathi is back with a new book this year. And this one he has co-authored with his sister Bhavna Roy. It is titled Idols, Unearthing the Power of Murti Puja. Both of them are here in the studio. Thank you and welcome to NDTV.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a family project and a second one after Dharma.
After Dharma.
My question is that you have spoken about your journey in childhood, and many would say that it's a very traditional family, but it is also a liberal one. I mean, isn't that oxymoronic?
Not in the traditional Indian way, actually. What does liberalism mean? It means that you will have openness to multiple truths, which in the Indian way is ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. It means that you will respect the rights of women, see men and women as equal, which is in the traditional Indian way, actually. Our most ancient scriptures, the Rig Veda, is hymns written by rishikas, by female rishis. We've actually acknowledged some of them through the names of our characters in this book, Lopamudra and Gargi.
Yes.
We had women who founded universities, women who ruled in their own names in ancient times. Vallabhi University, for example, the ancient university was founded by a woman. Respect for LGBT rights. This is what liberalism is. And if your traditions actually respect this, you can be both traditional and liberal at the same time. In our family, we are 3 brothers, 1 sister. Our parents, she was the eldest. Our parents had the same rule for all 4 of us. And we were still a very traditional family. But this is...
The only one who got away with breaking the rules was me.
And why have you said that it is about unearthing the power of Murti Puja? Because Murti Puja is very much part of Indian tradition, in culture, and at the same time about that spiritual journey. Spiritual journey and Murti Puja or idol worship are often seen as parallel journeys, ones that do not converge. Then how do the twins or twain meet?
So, in India, I wouldn't say this is so true about Bharat, but in India, there's a sense of, the heart gets pulled to our Devis and the Devatas, and the mind wonders what you're up to, what are you doing, worshipping stones, worshipping trees, worshipping rivers. So the mind questions what the heart is irrevocably drawn to. The questioning of the mind actually is rooted in the doctrinal otherizing of idol worship in the Abrahamic faiths, and especially in the eldest child of the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism. The first 5 books of the Old Testament, the Torah, have doctrinally said idol worshipping is evil, it is devil worshipping, and it should be eradicated from the face of the earth. Judaism is 3,500 years old. So the mind has been resisting idol worshipping. In fact, large tracts of the idol worshipping cultures have been wiped off the face of the planet. There is this tussle between the mind and the heart, especially in those who reside in India. This is in some sense, an effort to resolve this kashmakash and bring in some kind of, harmony and
that word is actually the right word here, kashmakash. समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या करें, तो इसलिए कश्मकश है. Heart and mind, as you talk about it, Bhavna. You have these characters, Dharma, Lopamudra, Gargi, and they are talking about their respective spiritual journeys, and then they talk about gods and goddesses. Goddess Kali has been mentioned, Lord Shiva has been mentioned. But the conversations are very, I would say, everyday. It's about confusion. It's about making them very realistic. Why was that effort made?
You go for it.
The modern paradigm of non-fiction books is driven more by the West, where it's very, in a way, at times, can be textbookish. The non-fiction book will have a hypothesis, And the entire purpose of the book is to convince you of that hypothesis and that all other options are in some ways false. Which is not the way it was in the traditional Indian way, it was not the way it was in the ancient Western ways as well. So the Upanishads, for example, our greatest philosophical texts, usually have things in conversations. It's never like this is the hypothesis and we have to convince you of it. You hear multiple different points of view and then you make up your own mind what works. It was that way in the ancient West as well. I'm sure you've heard of the Socratic dialogues, which were written by Plato, where they'd have different characters presenting different points of view. And we thought that it harkens back to a time where there was respect for multiple points of view. Like there's a skeptic in this book.
Yes.
Anirban, and he has a right to state his point of view, right? And you have a debate between some of them. So those who are skeptics can see their thoughts voiced through Anirban. And then the way the book is structured through the conversation at the end of it, you as a reader make up your own mind on what makes sense. But at least we've presented every, in our opinion, different sides of, not just one point of view, different sides as well, which is the traditional Indian way. So we thought this is more in line with the Upanishadic dialogue format.
And how much is Gargi, Lopamudra in your childhood?
Oh, in my youth, I was almost a replica. Gargi is my replica, not of today, but of my youth. Lopamudra is an ambition for me. I hope I'm moving in her direction and not some other way.
When you talk about, and one of the conversations, and I'll refer to it again, because I was going through certain parts of the book, and it's very, very fascinating. You talk about self-mastery, self-understanding, and then you also say about that kashmakash, heart and mind. It's also about darkness and light in many ways, right? But Bhavna, as a woman, you have made this emphasis, I sense, in those women characters who are very, very much into gods and goddesses which are women. Is there some relation here?
Actually, we've talked about the concept of the Ishta Devata. That's a very interesting question of the Ishta Devata, which is your chosen deity.
Yeah.
It could be a god, it could be a goddess. And you don't choose the deity chooses you, because it's some kind of a strange pull. It's a little like falling in love. You do not understand why among millions and even billions of people there's this one human being who rocks your boat. My Ishta Devata almost all my life was Lord Shiva. The goddess actually never attracted me, except for a very specific period in my life, which is the 2.5 years when my husband and I fought his illness. That's when the goddess Ma Durga attracted me. She pulled me again and again and again, and I would visit her temple. I would cry. I would drain myself of my fears, my terror, my desperation, my confusion, my helplessness. I would bawl. अंदर से झाड़ू पोछा लगा के I would come back home and engage in the battle with my husband. I have lost him now, and the goddess has left my hand once again, and it's Lord Krishna now. My mind does not try and understand the mechanics of it all. My heart shows me the direction.
That chosen deity?
Or
the deity choosing you. I think that's beautifully put. I would agree with you, Bhavna.
And what happens is the kind of person you are, then the divine who helps your spiritual journey kind of appears. Look, I'm by nature a rebellious, slightly anti-elitist kind of person. So for someone like me, Lord Shiva is the natural, God. My elder brother, Anish Dada, likes order, likes compliance. He's that kind of guy. So obviously Lord Ram attracts him. Ashish, my twin brother, is a flamboyant, fun-loving, very happy-go-lucky Lord Krishna, right?
Yes. It's a reflection of one's personality.
And then you get attracted to a large extent, and then you get there. And what resonates, So it's not always like my bhabhi, for example, Anish Dada's wife, Meeta Bhabhi. She's a gentle, lovely soul, but she's absolutely besotted with Ma Kali, right?
So everybody has their own idols.
We all have our own Ishtadevta, right? Ishtadevta or Ishtadevi. My wife Shivani is a Jain, and her practice works for her. And I think that's the beauty of the Indian way. You find what works for you. I don't judge you, you don't judge me. And there is mutual respect because what works for us can work only for us.
And Donnie, my other bhabhi, Ashish's wife, is a Christian.
Yeah.
A happy Christian. So Jesus has joined our pantheon.
Yes. How wonderful. Talking about Lord Ram and 22nd of January, it's going to be a big day.
Yeah.
You know, how should that day be seen?
You know, in fact, actually, we are making a documentary also on this subject. And the way I see it, Lord Ram is the Aradhya, is the the one we worship, not just for Hindus, but for Indians of all faiths, backgrounds, and regions. Across India, if you ask people what is the best way a nation should be run, practically everyone will say Ram Rajya. For me, the Lord Ram temple is actually a moment of unity for all of us to come together. If we are united, Indians are freaking unbeatable. Usually invaders have beaten us because they didn't need to beat us, we would beat ourselves, right? Because of our internal divisions. And to me, that's truly the message of Lord Ram. There's a lovely, and the way he conducted himself, of course, through his life, even those who would be enemies. But there's a lovely lok katha in UP, Bihar, where we are from, when Ravan lay dying. Lord Ram told Lord Lakshman that go and learn from Ravan, because he may have been our enemy, but there's no doubting the fact that he was a brilliant intellectual. And then he told Lord Lakshman, since you'll be learning from him, you'll show him respect, right? And that, to me, shows the kind of character Lord Ram was. That's what we should try and imbibe and learn from. We shouldn't just worship him, we should try and learn from him as well.
You've used a very interesting word. You say that it should be seen as a day of unity, 22nd of January. Ram Temple has had a long, acrimonious journey.
True.
One which will be seen in the political history of India in a very different way. Should 22nd then be seen from not a political prism, but more from a civilizational shift kind of a prism? For India, this is a moment.
Politics, spirituality, economics, everything goes into the civilization. But at the top of it all is our civilization. That is beyond everything else. And there's a lovely line, there's an archaeologist called K.K. Muhammad, whose work actually played a role in proving that there was a temple. And in fact, part of our documentary, we interviewed him. And he told us this wonderful line that I don't see this as a Hindu-Muslim issue. I see this as an Indian foreigner issue. Babar was a foreigner. It has nothing to do with us. There's an Indian civilizational issue. It's such a beautiful way to see it. At the temple, when we did part of our recording, in some ways it was very inspiring. We recorded transgenders at the Kanak Bhavan, who are devotees of Lord Ram.
Yes.
We had Manganyar Muslims who were Muslims, Namazi Muslims, and their vocation is they sing devotional ballads to Lord Ram. We had Pandits, it was, in some ways, really, if we can follow what Lord Ram's teachings actually were. Remember, at the end of the Ramayana, he says, Mannantani Vairani. At the end of death, all enmity is forgotten. And even to Ravan, he behaved, even for his funeral, full, with respect, with honor towards his family as well. That's what we need to learn from Lord Ram. This can be a moment of unity. I hope it is, because this is perhaps the best time in many centuries for India to re-emerge. We've had a very bad few centuries. This is and I've lived in the West
India
for 4
that
years.
is deeply rooted in its heritage.
Deeply rooted in its heritage. And I've spent 4 years in the West. Trust me, you can feel the energy out here. The only ones who will stop us is we ourselves, with our internal divisions. We really need to be united. If India is strong, it will be good for all of us. It's in our own selfish interest.
My last question, you have a dharma here, you have an idol here, and the two authors, will there be a trilogy?
Yeah, in fact, we're working on some ideas. Didi, aap bataiye.
Not just a trilogy, do not limit us. We have several projects in our mind, both in the area of, dharma and actually Indian culture. Together we are going to explore Indian culture ourselves and share our explorations with all of us.
Your final thought. I want to give you, as you know, I've always had this tradition of giving the final words to the women on my panel. So you get the final words.
Well, in that case, I should bring in the goddess. So to complete the circle from Ram Lala to the goddess, and then us civilization, to some sense, who we are. My mother is a pronounced goddess worshipper. And we used to live in this hick town called Kanspahal, very close to Rourkela in Odisha. And close to Rourkela, there was this very tiny Tarni Ma temple where Mummy loved to go, in fact, once a week she went to Tarni Ma temple. We left Rourkela 40 years back. I must have been around 11, 12 when we were in Rourkela. And to this day, Maria, once a month, in Rourkela we had an uncle called Iqbal uncle. He used to work with our father, and every once in a while he would come home to tutor the twins. And once
What would
a
he
month,
teach?
What would he teach?
Maths, actually.
Maths.
Okay. And to this day, once a month, he calls up my mother, the goddess worshipper, and tells her, Bhabhi, माँ को आपकी तरफ से चढ़ावा दे दिया. And last month when he called her, he said to her, Bhabhi, मेरे पैसे चढ़ रहे हैं, दर्शकों से, आपको आना पड़ेगा. And mummy said, Iqbal, तुम्हारे पैसे मेरे पैसे एक हैं. That is us.
Yeah, that's us. That's us. This is us. This is a story of Amish and Bhavna, which has been captured in this book. 7 million copies already in print, and many more to go.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.